Hi there, Alan Jackson here from the solution engineering team at Fluent, and I've got Matt Bradbeer here from EPAM.
Hi everybody, I'm Matt. I've been doing digital retail for just over 20 years, both agency and client side.
Great. So we, in the last section, we're walking through the common question of build versus buy, and sort of came, I think, to a consensus that it's really a balance of the two, and that's kind of led us into talking about the headless technology model. So is this just the latest buzzword in the long history of buzzwords, and why should I care about headless technology? Why is it important?
So I think you're right. It's become a buzzword. It didn't start out that way. It's like all of these things, really, isn't it? And it is a cool thing. What it really is. It's getting overused. It's also not that new a concept. It's when we were strapped for cash, time, and I guess experience 20 years ago. This is pretty much how we built stuff. Certainly in some of the startups I was involved in the late 90s. Really, for me, what Headless does is it gives the business control over the customer touch points. So you're detaching that front end that the customer's engaging with from the back end. And you're demarcating almost between what the business wants to do, which is to focus on the execution with the capabilities and the tools that the tech teams have given them. And then the tech teams can focus on building that capability. And they're not constantly getting into a wrangle with the business teams who want to change the way something looks or the way that a customer engages with them. So from that point of view, I think that's what is truly good about Headless. It's only one part of the equation. All the other stuff we've talked about before it plugs into it and makes it a really good thing.
Yeah, I think from a technology point of view, by as you put it, that sort of decoupling of experience layer and engine layer, which is not a new concept. This is a design methodology we've seen before, where I think maybe some of the evolution in technology in the back end makes for a more interesting approach in the modern era, and we can play to the strengths of each of those kind of experience layer platforms and engine layer platforms, which then kind of that's the technology side, but then you also have the resourcing or the personnel and skill set side. So obviously, by making that choice of a headless model, how does that impact the choice in team that you would use to help implement that?
It brings a new way of working. I think if you're going to do it properly, some people recently that I've worked with haven't done it properly. They brought the technology in, they bought into that concept, but they've maintained their business structure behind it. So the tech teams are still seen as a bottleneck by the business. I think what it forces a business or a company to do is to assess that the split between technology teams and the business teams. And in fact, the answer to do this properly is normally merge them and start thinking about what you're doing as capabilities and your business sort of execution as product. And then you'll start talking about product teams and product roadmaps for capabilities as a business and how you're delivering them.
Yeah, we're seeing that effectiveness come through now with some projects where initiatives like click and collect are being switched off and swapped for ship from store in 5 days, given the current situation globally with COVID-19, and the regional nuances that come with some countries needing to close down warehouses completely and move to dark store fulfillment process, or vice versa in other regions. So again, that flexibility and ability to adapt quickly, I think, is a byproduct of choosing that headless model, which is obviously extremely useful. So I think we're getting to a position where we're wrapping up this series of chats that we've been having. It's been a pleasure to have you with us. Looking forward to potentially kicking off some more subjects in the future.
Absolutely.